Talk Media Network and is streaming live on SportsTalkSC.com, as well as Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. The South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number to call in is 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now, here are Phil, Chris, and Pat with tonight's edition of Sports Talk.
And good evening, everybody, and welcome into Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. Happy Monday to you. I guess for many of you, it's the end of Monday as you're heading home. Maybe for some of you, you're just getting up after an afternoon nap. So welcome back to Monday. Maybe you're out walking or jogging or cutting the grass, perhaps. Hit 106 in my car today as I was making my way over to Benedict College as we continue with the Palmetto Pigskin Tour tonight over at Benedict College in downtown Columbia. Looking forward to visiting with the Tigers and Coach Chinnis Berry. And what a season they had last year. 11 game winning streak, 10-0 in the regular season, won their league championship game to go to 11-0, and then went to the Division II playoffs where they were defeated. But it was a historic season for Benedict, and they've got 17 starters coming back from that team and a bunch of others. And we'll talk with Coach about that coming up at 7:05 as we get back on the trail. Tomorrow night, we will be at Furman University as we head to the upstate. So looking forward to getting back up I-26 and over to 385. So get out of my way as I'm heading up there tomorrow. And tonight here on the program, coverage of the big scrimmages over the weekend. We'll hear from Shane Beamer and we'll hear from Dabo Sweeney regarding their teams. If you didn't hear the news over the weekend, if you weren't paying attention, according to Shane Beamer, the injuries to Trey Knox and to Juice Wells. Well, Knox was expected back at practice. He's expected back at practice today. They were off yesterday. I think they practiced today. No media today for the Gamecocks. And Wells has as they put it now, a lower body injury, which of course can cover a lot of things. Nothing specific. Their hope is that he'll be back for the season opener against North Carolina. How much practice he can get in between now and then remains to be seen. So that is the story regarding South Carolina. I know there'd been some concern about those two individuals in particular. And our phone number, 888-898-2525, South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number. Pat Daniel back at our studios in downtown Columbia, about a good 3 wood from me, where I sit over here at Benedict, just up Two Notch Road from the studios. And Chris Bergen from the Berge Palace over in Sardis. Good evening, Chris. How are you doing, buddy?
Hello, sir. I'm trying to stay cool. It was the hottest day of the year here along the coastline and then PD. And I was chuckling when I was listening back to Dabo Sweeney after the scrimmage on Saturday. He was talking about the hot weather has returned, and he was glad after Camp Kool-Aid. And I'm thinking, college football coaches are just a different breed. Yeah, the heat index, as you pointed out, well over 100 all across today, but they love it. Tigers went out this morning, did a situational scrimmage at Memorial Stadium, so they're just built differently, and God bless them for being able to do so. But more time outside is not something I'm looking forward to right now.
Yeah, like I said, it was 106 in my car as I was heading over here. Now, Columbia, famously hot, and it certainly proved to be the case today that it was really, really hot in Columbia. The good thing is that we've come a long way from an education standpoint for these coaches.
No question.
About how to deal with the heat, how to be careful, when to practice, how much to practice. And you know what else we've done away with too, of course. And you hear the guys who played 30, 40, 20 years ago, it's like, hey, we never got a water break. It was like we went 2 hours, and if you took water, well, you were just a sissy, and you had to go sit down. You weren't going to play. It made you tough. Well, it also probably made you dead at some point in time. And they're a lot smarter with that now. Players can get hydrated anytime they feel the need, which is good. No sense pushing the limit and taking anybody to the line when you don't have to do that. So we're a lot smarter when it comes to all that from the standpoint of taking care of health. All right, phone number 888-898-2525 is the number, and we would be happy to hear from you tonight, your thoughts about what's going on with the teams now as we're starting to turn that corner. Really, one more week of camp, and then the teams will start to focus on their upcoming opponents. It was a busy news day. We've got the AP preseason poll. We'll talk about that in just a moment. Other polls came out today as well. Clemson has their basketball opponents. They don't have the schedule per se all the way through. The ACC schedule has not been set, but they know who they're going to be playing in the league and outside the league. And we'll touch on that for you as well here tonight. And, of course, recruiting coming your way. USC women pick up, apparently, a really talented prospect for their 2024 class over the weekend. And let's see, what else? NFL preseason now. When do you think the Panthers will score their first touchdown of the year? Will it happen sometime in mid-September? When are you expecting that to occur?
The little bit I saw of their preseason game with the Jets on Saturday was a miserable performance by Carolina. Now, I go in with very low expectations this year for the Panthers, and I feel bad for Bryce Young. They're going to run him out there, and they may get him taken back off on a stretcher because every time I looked up, he was in, running for his life, the whole saying. And then when Matt Corrals to play, every time I looked over there at him, he was on his backside trying to throw the football. I mean, their offensive line is not very good. And so scoring points with that porous an offensive line is going to be a major, major challenge unless they improve tremendously from the exhibition they had on Saturday against the Jets.
Yeah, tough start for them. But again, it is preseason. You can't get too high. You can't get too low with what you see. They've never crowned anybody a Super Bowl champion by winning all their preseason games, right? No. So that's true. It's a starting point, and we'll see where they will go from here. And what's that, Patrick? You think they're already in midseason form? Am I misreading something here that you're writing?
Oh, yeah, I was talking to Chris. That was not about the Panthers. But, hey, we could talk about that.
They could be in midseason.
They might be. They might be. I did think it was at least slightly encouraging. The only piece of encouraging news coming out of Charlotte over the weekend in that scrimmage, if you're a Panthers fan, was that, well, I guess with what Chris said, first of all, that Bryce Young was not hurt with all those hits he was taking. But, golly, we already talked about how undersized he might be, and a lot of folks thinking that will be his greatest challenge in the NFL. Well, he's going to need a lot more help from the offensive line, but at least seeing accountability, whether it turns into something or not, the offensive linemen all held a quote-unquote private meeting. They are at least trying to take accountability and take that step forward, but they're going to need some massive improvements along that offensive line if they want to not get shut out a few times this year.
Mm-hmm. All right, and let's see what else. Of course, you got the Yankees and the Braves tonight in Atlanta, and of course, being a Yankee fan, after the Yankees just absolutely puked one up yesterday in Miami, I had to listen to New York radio as I was driving back from Atlanta yesterday, and my goodness, you think it's bad around here when teams don't perform and don't win? Listening to the fan in New York, which is the Yankee station, imagine. They're beside themselves now. They're beside themselves. It's Boone, it's Cashman, it's Hal Steinbrenner. It's analytics, and I'm with them now. I'm fed up with this analytics stuff, and I don't understand if I can vent my spleen on the Yankees for just a moment because it's going terribly for the Yankees. But I mean, I don't understand it when you've got the best pitcher in the American League on the mound, and he's got a nice, comfortable lead, and he's at 99 pitches, and you take him out of the ball game. I mean, I know you believe in your bullpen, and the Yankees' bullpen, for the most part, has been pretty good all season. But, I mean, Garrett Cole could have gone another couple of innings and reduced the wear and tear on your bullpen. And, of course, they put the closer out there, and he just imploded in the ninth inning. And the Yankees took a loss yesterday that, of course, many are saying puts the nail in their proverbial coffin. And it might have. It's a dispirited bunch, no doubt about it. But they still have 44 games to go. And they're only 5 games back of the wild card, so you still have to kind of look at it optimistically. But it's been just a terrible season for the Yankees, and people are looking at the farm system and the way they are making trades for bad players and signing bad players, and they're not very athletic for today's style of baseball, yada, yada, yada. And they're going to see an athletic team tonight. And what a weekend the Braves had up in the other New York. And I wonder, somebody was asking me yesterday, have you ever had a situation where One team has played the Yankees and Mets back to back and just and dominated them the way the Braves might do if they do it to the Yankees?
Well, we'd have to go back, obviously, to the start of interleague play and move forward. But, Phil, I can't imagine it's happened more than once or twice. I mean, clearly there are National League teams that were going to get a chance to play the Mets and then followed with the Yankees or vice versa. But the Braves, the way they're playing right now, and even with the little stumble they had coming out of the All-Star break, I mean, those guys are at another level than most teams in Major League Baseball. And you bring up a fascinating point about how teams are now handling pitchers. I remember when Steven Strasburg got his chance with the Washington Nationals, I felt like they babied him all the way through pretty much the early portion of his career. And we've gotten to a point now with the analytics that starters are not going to go more than 6 or 7 innings. It doesn't matter how many pitches they have thrown. You could throw 70, 10 per inning, and they're pulling you by the 7th. It's just the way the game is managed now. I don't know if it's better or worse, but I'm like you. If Garrett Cole or Spencer Strider, whomever you want to run out there, is having a good game going into the 7th inning, it's a 1-0, 2-0 lead. He's pitching well. Leave him out there. But that's not the way managers. And I'm more curious if it's the managers being hamstrung by the GM and all the ownership and everybody else, how much money they're throwing at these guys. They want to protect their investment, sometimes at the detriment of trying to win a game.
I agree. I mean, the best managers are the ones that manage by their gut and their experience and their knowledge of the game. Look at the best managers in baseball today. You start with Snitker with Atlanta. Does analytics play a big role with the Braves? I don't think so. Look at the job that the manager there with Texas, who was with the Giants and had great success, the success he's having there. He's an older guy, and I'm sure he manages more by gut feel. Now, maybe I'm wrong with some of these guys, but I don't think so. It just appears to me the better managers around Major League Baseball are the ones that go with the instincts in them about playing the game of baseball, and not always looking at the numbers and what this guy hits against a two-seam fastball on a 1-2 count against a left-hander in the shade in 67 degrees. Whatever it is they happen to break down in their computer that they carry with them. South Carolina under Sparky Woods once had a offensive coordinator named Art Wilkins. And he might have been before his time when it came to analytics, because he would walk around with a briefcase going to practice and stuff. And, in that briefcase, I guess, were all his plays and his schemes and things like that. Well, that didn't work out real well for him in the Gamecocks. So, I'm sure analytics are fine in some ways, but sometimes you just got to know the game and make decisions based on your knowledge and your instinct for playing the game at that particular time. All right. Now, phone number, 888-898-2525. That's the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number for you. Here on Sports Talk, open for your phone calls here for a little while. Then we're going to get to Dabo Sweeney and Shane Beamer coming up, along with the folks here at Benedict. So today, the AP preseason ranking came out, and Clemson is in the top 10. If I remember correctly, I think the coaches poll had the Tigers at number 10. The writers in their poll, they have the Tigers at number 9, which is the lowest preseason ranking for Clemson since their 2015 season. Of course, they went in 2015. They went on and finished number 2 in the country. And so they didn't let the ranking, I think they were like 13th to start that season. Clemson is number 9 in the writers' poll behind Georgia, Michigan, Ohio State, Alabama, LSU, Southern Cal, Penn State, and Florida State. And then Washington is number 10. The two-time defending national champion Georgia Bulldogs received 60 of 63 first-place votes. And South Carolina received enough votes to finish 27th in the poll with 73 points. And the Gamecock season opening opponent, North Carolina, is ranked 21st. Coastal Carolina also received votes worth 3 points. 5 USC opponents are ranked in the poll: Georgia, Clemson, Tennessee, North Carolina, Texas A&M. And Clemson has 3 opponents ranked: Florida State, Notre Dame, and North Carolina. So what do you think? Number 9 for Clemson in the AP poll. I think people are sort of like, okay, you had your run among the Now you've got to kind of prove it again and work your way back to the top.
Well, that's the same question I asked when we saw the coaches poll come out. First off, why are they behind Florida State? What is it that people are seeing out of Florida State that we haven't been saying for the last 5 or 6 years about them, or it hasn't come true outside of maybe their finish last year? They feel like they've got some momentum going into this year. And also, why is Clemson ranked ahead of Tennessee, just the way they were in the coaches poll? The way that season finished for both of those teams, and both quarterbacks are coming back into this year, I would have thought Tennessee would have been ranked maybe a little bit higher than Clemson. But, again, as you pointed out, not all that big a deal. Now, what I did find fascinating about the Associated Press, this is the first time in, a generation almost, that Alabama was not ranked inside the top 3. You joke about maybe Clemson it has had its time. Alabama outside the top 3 for the first time since 2009. I mean, it's almost hard to believe that they have been a staple inside the top 3 for that long, a decade plus. And for the first time, maybe people are starting to see maybe a little bit of cracks in the armor for Nick Saban and the Crimson Tide. And boy, if he needed any momentum or any bulletin board material, if the number 4 ranking can be used as a bulletin board material, he just got it today.
Yes, he did. A couple of notes on Clemson because they had a media session today after their morning practice. Freshman Vic Burley, defensive tackle, was injured in the scrimmage Saturday, a knee injury. He's going to be out for a little while, they're saying. They don't know exactly how long. And so that's something to keep an eye on. He apparently was making a bit of an impression as a freshman before getting hurt. DeMonte Capehart also went down with a knee injury, not considered to be serious, according to this reporting by Larry Williams of Tiger Illustrated, expected back in a week or so. So just a couple of notes coming out of Clemson from their scrimmage. We'll hear from Dabo Swinney coming up. We'll hear from Shane Beamer as we go to our first break here on Sports Talk. And if you'd like to join us, the phone number is 888-898-2525. That is the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number to reach us here on the program. Phil Kornblut over at Benedict College. We have Chris Bergen at the Berge Palace and Pat Daniel at our studios in downtown Columbia. We'll hit the break. Be back with more in a moment. Don't go away.
Dumpster Plus is your solution to a more cost-effective and professional work site. Dumpster Plus provides a roll-off dumpster and porta-john in one. Give them a call at 803-500-5094 and ask them about 2 services for the price of one. It's one call, one delivery, 2 services. Locally owned and operated in Columbia, and that means you'll talk to a real live local person, ready to get what you need with a 24-hour turnaround guaranteed. Whether your worksite is residential or commercial, big or small, near or far, you'll save money with Dumpster Plus. Waste management solutions never look so good. Call Dumpster Plus at 803-500-5094. That's 803-500-5094 for Dumpster Plus.
It all builds up to this at Darlington Raceway.
If you're going to kick off the playoffs, why not do it big?
Green flag is up.
Like Labor Day weekend big.
That's how you make a move, and a round goes through it.
Like Southern 500 big. The only thing bigger than the action will be the experience of seeing it live.
Tight.
NASCAR Playoffs weekend at Darlington Raceway, September 2nd and 3rd. Get your tickets today at darlingtonraceway.com. Discover South Carolina.
We've got rates worth bragging about. For a limited time, Founders Federal Credit Union is offering our 12-month certificate at 5.04% annual percentage yield, or APY. And our 12-month IRA certificate is at 5.3% APY. Don't miss this opportunity. A $500 deposit is all it takes to make these great rates work for you. Rates accurate as of June 1st, 2023. Stop by any Founders location to open your IRA or certificate today. Or use Founders Online to open a certificate from wherever you are. To learn more, visit foundersfcu.com/dividend-rates. Terms, conditions, and restrictions apply. Membership qualification required. Federally insured by NCUA.
Major Downer here from the South Carolina Department of Natural Resources. Boating season is just around the corner. To make sure that your boat is ready, check your registration sticker and ensure it's current. Find your registration card, make sure your life jackets are in good shape, and check your fire extinguisher as well. For more information on boating or boat titling questions, visit dnr.sc.gov/boating.
Summer weather has arrived in South Carolina, and you know what that means. Sweet, tasty South Carolina peaches are hitting shelves near you. Most people tend to think of Georgia as the peach state, but South Carolina is the East Coast's top producing peach state, so we know a thing or two about a great tasting peach. The next time you're in the grocery store or local farmer's market, keep an eye out for those sweet, tasty, certified SC peaches. Discover more about the tastier peach state at scpeach.org.
Over at Benedict College, we're inside the coach's office. Boy, I tell you what, you win 11 games, you get some things. They have totally redone this building. It's beautiful inside here. Their team meeting room, I got to take some video of that. I will take some video and post that. They have dressed this place up tremendously, and congratulations for what they have done. High School League Appellate Commit. Let me say this: the High School League's appellate panel has put out a public notice for Wednesday. They're going to hear that Philip Simmons' fifth-year eligibility appeal and the Gray Collegiate Academy appeal of classification decision is going to come up at 10 o'clock in the morning on Wednesday, Chris.
It's funny you bring up the high school league because that was going to be my question to Coach Barry. You'll have to ask him what impacts and their thoughts about the high school league moving the state championships away from Benedict down to South Carolina State. See if they're okay with that. Were they disappointed? Did they get an opportunity to maybe present a package to the high school league to keep it at Benedict? Because I thought they did a tremendous job hosting those state championships for the years they had that opportunity.
We shall ask him. Let's go to the phones, 888-898-2525. We go to Gamecock Larry over in Swansea. Good to have him with us to begin the week. Gamecock Larry made it through another good weekend and getting ready for Gamecock football. Hello, Larry. How are you?
I'm doing just fine. Boy, I tell you, 19 days before kickoff, North Carolina and if my old cousin, Tommy the Tiger, was living, we'd be talking trash about the ACC, Tommy the Tiger, and SEC Gamecock Larry. But let me tell you something. We're gonna be 3-0 when we get through with Georgia, and then we got Tennessee and Texas. I don't know, but on the break I guarantee we're gonna be at least 5-1 or even 6-0.
Well, now, Larry,
the worst we're gonna be after 6 games is 5-1. What do you think about that, Mr. Field?
Well, now let me ask you, Mr. Larry. We have our poll question of the week. Our poll question of the week is how many regular season wins for the Gamecocks this coming season? Will it be 12? Will it be 10 or 11? Will it be 8 or 9? Or will it be 6 or 7? And you vote what?
It will be 12.
Oh, okay.
12-0, and we go stick to it until we lose one. And we ain't going to lose one. We're going to be 11-0 when the Tigers come to town. And we're going to be 12-0, Mr. Field. And the Gamecocks going to be in the Final Four in 2023, I think. I did say 24.
Well, now the 23 season, but the 24 calendar year. Okay, Larry, you're off to a great start this week. You enjoy the rest of your day. And he is the optimistic type. 54% of the voters say the Gamecocks will have 8 or 9 wins, 32.5%, 6 or 7. 5.3% say they'll have 12 wins. Larry must have voted like 10 times. Be back in a moment.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
And here's tonight's forecast. Some passing clouds as we cool down this evening to 76. Tomorrow, another scorcher with a high of 96 and a heat index around 108. We'll have a mix of sun and clouds before we get some late afternoon and evening showers. Cooler on Wednesday with a high of 90 with a mix of sunshine and clouds. I'm Brian Leonard with your On Point local weather.
It's the Cigar Militia, Columbia's premium cigar store. It's that time of year. It's golf weather. Are you going golfing this weekend? Be the guy bringing the sticks, not the guy that borrows. Come by and refill your humidor or just pull off the interstate for a smoke and a cold beverage. Our friendly and knowledgeable staff will help you. You could be a novice or a seasoned veteran. Our friendly staff will walk you through the humidor and answer your questions. We're at 1410 Colonial Life Boulevard next to the Melting Pot.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters reporting. As the wildfire approached, residents of Maui had moments to make decisions that would determine whether they lived or died. It became a harrowing, narrow window of time in one of the most lethal natural disasters the country has seen in years. There were no sirens, no one to tell people what to do. Residents were on their own to choose whether to stay or to run. 96 people have died, but the death toll is expected to rise. Donald Trump is attacking the federal judge overseeing the election conspiracy case against him days after she warned him not to make inflammatory statements about the case. The former president made posts very early Monday on his social media network calling U.S. District Judge Tanya Chutkan highly partisan and very biased and unfair. On Wall Street, the Dow by 26 points. This is SRN News.
It's not quite football season yet. The back-to-school sales are here, and it's time for you to help Columbia Animal Service to clear the shelters. For the entire month of August, adoptions are absolutely free. You can't beat that. Bring home a pooch or a kitty at no cost. Be the hero to give a dog or cat a new home. Visit PetFinder.com today to see your next family member. Clear the shelters in August. Free adoptions. Visit PetFinder.com and support Columbia Animal Services.
Hi, this is Owen. I'm the owner, the general manager here at The Point. One of the most valuable lessons I've learned is to partner with great people. To that end, I'm looking to partner in the upcoming months with like-minded business owners, people who want to grow their respective businesses. Would you consider meeting with me in the very near future to discuss how The Point can partner with you so that you can exceed your own expectations in the coming year? Let's sit down over a glass of tea, a cup of coffee. Let's talk about how your business and my business can work together to meet our collective goals. I'm not looking simply for advertisers. I can find them by simply cold calling people a few times a week. What I'm looking for are business partners who share the vision that I have for my own small business. That vision is very simple. Local businesses need to support local businesses. Period. If you have an interest in telling people about your business via the radio, let's make it happen affordably and local. Call me directly, 563-8558, 563-8558. I'd appreciate the chance to meet with you. Maybe we can help each other.
Hey, this is Paul Romanstein, proud owner of Midlands Landscape and Lawns. Is it time for a new lawn? You need to start with a smooth gray done right. Then a must is a new Rainbird irrigation system that comes complete with a 1-year warranty. We will then help you know what turf is right for your yard. Tiff Tuff Bermuda is a great turf for full sun. Then let the pros maintain your whole property and keep your new grass green and healthy and weed free. At Midlands Landscape and Lawns, we hate weeds. So that's why you can find us at hateweeds.com. hateweeds.com.
If you own a small to medium-sized business that kept employees on payroll through COVID, you may have a big cash refund waiting for you. The Employee Retention Credit is a tax credit of up to $26,000 per employee. And now, more businesses than ever qualify. The experts at RefundsPro.com specialize in cutting through the red tape of qualifying for this government program. Most of their refunds are over $100,000. Even businesses that have received PPP funds may be eligible. And there are absolutely no fees unless you receive a refund. So there's no reason not to apply. If your business experienced shutdowns, limited capacity, supply chain challenges, or reduced revenue due to COVID, you likely qualify. RefundsPro.com has already helped hundreds of businesses. So don't lose the refund you're owed by missing the deadline. Get started today with a free 5-minute questionnaire at RefundsPro.com. That's refunds with an S, pro.com.
It all builds up to this at Darlington Raceway.
If you're going to kick off the playoffs, why not do it big?
Green flag is up.
Like Labor Day weekend big.
That's how you make a move. And around goes Truex.
Like Southern 500 big. The only thing bigger than the action will be the experience of seeing it live.
Tight.
NASCAR Playoffs weekend at Darlington Raceway, September 2nd and 3rd. Get your tickets today at darlingtonraceway.com. Discover South Carolina.
We are back on Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network on this very hot Monday afternoon into evening. Appreciate you being with us as always. Phil Kornblut here at Benedict College. Our next stop on the Palmetto Pigskin Tour. Chris Bergen over in Sardis, coming off a big weekend for the Bergen family, and Pat Daniel back at our studios in Columbia. Phone number 888-898-2525. You want to explain what that big weekend was for the Bergen family?
I was just going to say, outside of the last weekend without sports involving me or my wife for the next, 8 months, I'm not sure what it could have been. We didn't do a whole lot this weekend.
I just made it up.
No, but it was actually a big weekend, though, with high school football starting this week. And then, of course, we'll be into college and college hoops. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it was a nice weekend to relax because they come so infrequently now moving forward.
A couple of things I want to mention real quick, and then we'll get back to phone calls, and we'll hear from Shane Beamer. 888-898-2525 is the number. South Carolina announced today that they are going to retire the jersey of Alshon Jeffrey at halftime of the Mississippi State game. Not the number, but the jersey. They've gotten away from retiring the number, but they will retire the jersey, and his name will go up inside the stadium there at Williams-Brice. It'll be up under lights and things like that. And Alshon Jeffrey, of course, most deserving of that based on both his college and his professional career, right? I mean, he was one of the greats.
The catch he had against Alabama when they knocked off Alabama at Williams-Brice Stadium, the one-handed catch where he almost gets undressed by the Alabama defensive back because that was the only thing he could do is try and tackle Alshon. I mean, the guy was a beast on the outside. He's so big, so physical, and had such great hands. I mean, this was a no-brainer. The next one I think probably should be a no-brainer for the Gamecocks is Connor Shaw. Don't you think?
One would think. Now, they have criteria that they use to, it's there. I guess there's some emotion that's built into this, but there's also some criteria that they go by. You know, what did you accomplish in your college and career afterwards? You know, what level of awards did you receive? All-American honors, all SEC honors. It says here in the release that factors for jersey retirement include postseason, national, and conference recognitions, school record holders, impact on team accomplishments, and either graduating from USC or leaving the school in good academic standing. The current athletics department policy states that the school retired jerseys, not numbers.
Right.
So with that being said, Connor Shaw would be a no-brainer.
Well, to me, even if he didn't have a great NFL career, he's the all-time winningest quarterback at South Carolina. That should be enough to get your jersey retired. I mean, at that position and what he was able to accomplish with his team when he was the leader of that program, I think it's more than enough. But Alshon, that was about as easy as they come. I'm not sure South Carolina's had many better wide receivers than Alshon Jeffrey go through that program.
Jadeveon Clowney, Sterling Sharp, Steve Wadiak, George Rogers, and Mike Johnson, the only other ones to have their numbers / jerseys retired. I think, Marcus Lattimore, how do you deal with that?
That's a great question. Yep.
Unfortunately for him, his career was cut short by the two devastating knee injuries. Yet, when healthy, there was none better. Not to mention everything else that he brought to the program. Do you overlook the analytics of the numbers and look at the overall picture of Marcus Lattimore first, what it meant to the program at that time for him to commit, Number two, what he did do when healthy. Number three, what he brought to the program in terms of his charisma and personality. And the things he did, number four, after he left, a little bit of coffee with the NFL, but then coming back, he did work some with the university before moving on to what he's doing now out. I think he's in Oregon or something. No brainer. Should that one be one that's on the board for being retired?
Wow. As much as Alshon was a no-brainer, and I think that Connor Shaw should be in that category as well. Marcus, I think you probably have to discuss and weigh, what he actually did accomplish on the field versus sort of the overall feel with him around the program. And you're right, everything he has done philanthropically afterwards and what he brought to the program and the name recognition that came in when he signed with South Carolina. I mean, there are a lot of positives and a lot of good reasons to bring Marcus into the fold. But then on the flip side, his career was obviously cut short. He never really realized, I think, what all of us were hoping to be able to see from him, and that was sort of a Hall of Fame type playing career. He's a Hall of Fame person, but did he have a Hall of Fame playing career at USC? I don't think so.
Okay, 888-898-2525 is the number. A couple of other things. The preseason D2 poll from the Football Coaches Association has come out, and Benedict is ranked 17th in the preseason poll, and Newberry ranked number 24. Wouldn't you like to see these two teams meet up at some point? Have to be in the postseason. Be pretty cool to see these two teams meet up somewhere down the road. So two really good teams, two really good programs. Benedict 17, Newberry 24 in the AFCA Division II poll. And Furman is number 6 in the AFCA FCS ranking going into this season, which is a well-deserved placement for the Paladins football program. And we'll be up at Furman tomorrow night to talk more with Coach Clay Hendricks and players about the upcoming season and their expectations for this coming year. And the last thing to touch on before we get to, two more things. USC women's soccer ranked 3rd in the SEC coaches preseason ranking for soccer, and they're behind Arkansas and Alabama. And, Thursday night, it's South Carolina Clemson women's soccer up at Clemson as we begin another
That'll be
athletic year between the Gamecocks and the Tigers on this academic calendar. And the Sun Belt men's soccer rankings came out. South Carolina is ranked 5th preseason. Coastal Carolina is tied with Georgia State for 6th. And Kentucky is number 1. The Gamecocks played an exhibition game with NC State the other day and got beat 5-1 by the Wolfpack up there. The USC women played Duke in an exhibition game, got beat 2-1 at home the other day. And then in the department of this is sad, and I wish it weren't true because I wanted to believe what I saw in the movie. But Michael Orr is suing the family in Mississippi that took him in as an adopted youngster. The movie, of course, The Blind Side, a highly successful movie, made like $300 million. It's a Disney movie. Everybody loved it, I think. You couldn't watch it and not love it. Sandra Bullock, of course, playing the mom. But the Tuohys, that's the family, and he is alleging, came out today, he's alleging that the family who was immortalized in the movie, he has petitioned a Tennessee court with allegations that a central element of the story was a lie concocted by the family to enrich itself at his expense. A 14-page petition filed in Shelby County, Tennessee probate court alleges that the Tuohys, who took Orr into their house as a high school student, never adopted him. Instead, less than 3 months after he turned 18 in 2004, the petition says the couple tricked him into signing a document making them his conservators, which gave them legal authority to make business deals in his name. And it goes on to say that they made a lot of money off of, and their children, their birth children, made a lot of money, made millions, they say, in royalties from the movie. and that he or got nothing for a story that he said, quote, would not have existed without him, end quote. So anyway, I'm not going to go into the whole long story, but that's just disappointing. I mean, really, you want to look at that movie. You want to look at Remember the Titans. You want to look at the Lou Gehrig story, whatever, and believe that it's real. You know, that it really happened that way, right? And that they didn't take liberties with the truth.
Right. Yeah, the cinematic liberties go a little bit far. I mean, even the movie Friday Night Lights, if you read the book and watched the movie, totally different outcome. Odessa Permian and Dallas Carter did not play for the state championship that year. That was actually a semifinal game. But to make it a movie, they had to put it into the finals. So, we see this all the time. And one thing that I thought was interesting is Sean Toohey told the Daily Memphian that he was stunned by Orr's allegations that said they didn't make any money off that movie. Only a share of the proceeds from the book, which was the foundation for the film. I find that really hard to believe that somebody is going to immortalize your life on film and you're not getting 1 cent from it. When they put the Phil Kornblut story up on the big screen, Phil, I'm pretty sure you're going to want a little bit of the cut, aren't you, from Disney?
Let's see. Now, what will that movie be rated? That's the question.
I just find it really hard to believe they didn't make any money off the film. Yeah. I really do.
I see your quote. He says, we're devastated. It's upsetting to think we would make money off any of our children, but we're going to love Michael at 37 just like we loved him at 16. So here we go. This is going to play out in court. It's going to be ugly. Right. And, it's not the first time Michael Orr has made comments like this since his retirement from the NFL. So I don't know what's going on. But it's painful. It's painful to know that maybe that story isn't true. Who do you believe? I guess you got to wait for it to play out, even in court. Who are you going to believe when the allegations start to fly?
Real quick, Phil, before we move on, according to 20th Century Fox, the family was paid $225,000 up front for the movie, and then in 2.5% of the film's net proceeds. So if you say, the article then says that it made $300 million, well, 2.5% of that will be $7.5 million. So that's their cut there alone, not including anything else that stemmed from it. Two other things just to point out that just makes you kind of perk up and raise your eyebrow a little bit. The timing of everything is always key here. So last week on the 8th, Michael Orr had a book come out. It was released on August 8th called When Your Back's Against the Wall. Just seems like awfully coincidental timing that he's doing this now, right when his book is coming out. Seems like pretty good publicity for your book. Just saying. And then one last thing, remember all the NCAA investigations when he committed to Ole Miss, people thinking that his family, the Tuohys, they were big supporters of Ole Miss. They even touched on that in the movie, NCAA coming around. Like, why would he go to Ole Miss and not Alabama or these other schools? Kind of makes you wonder, maybe the NCAA was on to something after all. Just saying.
One thing that stands out to me about that movie, they had different coaches making cameos. And, of course, Lou Holtz, who was coaching at South Carolina at the time, and he was representing South Carolina in the movie, and he said in the movie to Michael, Michael, you look great in Gamecock Red. And I'm like, I'm like, Lou, I mean, first of all, you yourself should have told the directors it's not red, it's garnet, if you want to make it real, right? I mean, you're not going to call the Crimson Tide the Peach Tide. They're the Crimson Tide. It's South Carolina. It's garnet. It's not red. But in the movie, he said you'd look great in Gamecock Red. And I just thought that was odd that they would make that kind of mistake with a fact. Maybe they made mistakes, embellished other facts in there. Who knows?
So basically, what we've told you folks is The Blind Side was a horrible movie. You should have never gone to see it. You should have never enjoyed it.
Well, the movie,
none of it was true.
Right? Yeah,
it was a really.
It
good
might not
movie.
have been true, I guess, in his mind, but still was a heck of a movie. All right, let's go back to the phones. Andy in Columbia. Welcome into Sports Talk. How are you?
I think the correct wording is, while you're watching the movie, have your feet up on a desk so it doesn't pile up too high on you.
True that.
I think that might be more appropriate. Number one, shout out to Gamecock Larry. From his lips to God's ears. Hopefully it'll all come true this year. Okay, Mr. Corn.
Well, let's look at it this way: will the Gamecocks win more games than the Mets scored runs against the Braves this past weekend?
I was about ready to make a comment on that. You can complain all you want about your Yankees, but when you have a man dick come in the ninth inning and pitch for you, your team's in desperate trouble.
When you have a who?
Man dick.
Easy.
The guy's last name's Man Dick.
Oh, okay. All right.
He played second base and outfield, and he came in and pitched the ninth inning, I believe, on the 23-run game from Saturday.
I was listening to Mets broadcast of that game, and, they were doing the best they could to hold it together, but it wasn't easy for them.
Now, let me ask you a question. You just ran through the numbers that are people who have had their names retired and so forth and so on.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Did I not hear, is Dr. Rick not in that list?
No, he's not.
Well,
it's a very short list. It's a very short list.
I mean, Dr. Rick, the first number one draft pick from this university, how many years did he play in the NFL at a high level?
Seven.
Right. What did he do at South Carolina? Was he not an All-American?
Yes, he was.
What, so what's Dr. Rick got to do to get himself up there?
That's a very
really good question. Yeah, it is.
And what about Dan Reeves? What's Dan Reeves have to do to get his name up there?
It's a good question. I can't answer that question.
He had a great year. He had a great career here, not to mention what he did as a player and what he did as a coach in the NFL. Are they all mad because he never came back here to coach South Carolina? I just don't understand it. And one other question I have for you, and this goes back to last Friday and the Cam Scott thing. It's obviously not the coaches that are here that are the reason these kids aren't coming here. Are we ever going to be able to get a top-notch in-state basketball player to come to our school?
What was G.G. Jackson?
That was a rental that he just didn't. The only reason he came here was because North Carolina filled their spot like an idiot for someone else that they shouldn't have. If that spot would have been open, he never would have came here. Okay, you know that, I know that, and anybody with half a brain knows that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what are we going to have? When, if ever, are we going to see top-notch school, especially kids from Columbia? We can name off 15 kids from Columbia that in the past 5 years have been outstanding players in the SEC. Phillips, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Let's go down the line.
But he would have been a one-year guy because he was one and done at Tennessee.
Well, but still.
I hear you. Listen, I hear what you're saying. I can't explain it.
The excuse before Phil was that no one wanted to play for Martin, which is BS. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Paris was supposed to come in and be, the savior of, everybody to want to play for him. It doesn't seem like they do. It doesn't seem like the high-level players want to come in to play for him. Is it our basketball program just isn't a program that attracts those kind of players? What is it? What's the formula?
It's hard to explain. I don't know. You got a beautiful facility. You got great locker rooms. You got decent enough fan support. Good basketball will be supported.
Yeah, no question.
Yeah, but good basketball will be supported.
But Andy brings up a really interesting point about.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, Andy, back to your original point about the Columbia players. There was a time where USC kept all the Columbia players. I think it's been the late 80s and the 90s, but
you were there. You were part of the team when that was going on.
You had JoJo English, you had Barry Manning, you had Joe Rent. All those guys stayed in Columbia to play. And then you look back at the Final Four team. That was a South Carolina-laden bunch that was able to guide them. The really good season that USC had when they won the SEC championship with B.J. Mackey and Melvin Watson and those guys. there's a way to keep those players around. I'm just not sure why it doesn't happen more often. I don't know if it's the fact that the majority of these kids don't grow up as Gamecock fans. It's that old chicken versus the egg deal. Do you have to be good to get good players? Well, the only way you can be good is to have those good players. So how do you get to that point? It's a really, really good, legitimate question to ask, and I don't have a very good answer for it because it has happened. It just hasn't happened all that often.
And I will tell you one player to keep an eye on, Andy, this year, and we may not think of him as a Columbia guy because he ended up, I believe he was at Florida and then ended up at Wasatch Academy out in Utah. But Colin Murray Boyle's coming in this year. That guy he was thought of out of high school. I know we don't like usually talking stars, but he was a 4-star, had other big schools looking at him. But in this tournament last week, when they played Argentina, he had 16 points, was a perfect 7-7 from the field, 2-2 from 3. He was electric in that game, offensively, defensively. He's long. He can guard all 5 positions, or maybe 4 out of 5 positions. He is going to make an immediate impact on that Gamecock squad this year. And again, he ended up out in Utah, but he is from the Midlands. They also got Conyers from out in Blythewood, who's another player. He may be a little bit more of a development, but he has a lot of talent as well. So I think Paris is starting to build on that. He just might need a little more time.
I mean, it just seems like we're treading, water and we're at the same place. And every time we hope we're going to have a buoy thrown to us that might give us a savior, it's like, oh, sorry, you were my second pick. You missed out. It's kind of getting tired of being the redheaded stepchild left at the altar.
Easy.
It's like,
all right, you don't pick on redheads with Pat.
Easy.
Hey, thank you very much.
He's not a stepchild, so
I know. Thank you very much. It's tough. It's a shame that they reached the Final Four, and they really didn't build on that recruiting wise. They didn't take the program and elevate it to it. Now maybe Martin kind of felt like it was starting to head that way. He said he would have had G.G. Jackson, et cetera, et cetera. But it's, for whatever reason, it's a difficult sell at South Carolina with some of these players. I think Pat made a good point, though. There are some local players who are coming, but these aren't heavily recruited players now, Pat. These aren't. You go back and look at their recruitments. They were not guys that had the big, powerful programs knocking on their door like Cam Scott did, and some of the others. But where you got to make it up, of course, is finding good players, maybe not from your backyard, but other good players who want to come play in the SEC, who want to play in an 18,000-seat building, and who want to have a chance to get on the court. And that is what they can offer. Okay, a couple quick things. Sumter native Justice Boone, Florida defensive end, out for the season. Torn ACL. Big blow for the Gators. Also, Texas A&M loses their tight end, Donovan Green, for the season. Torn ACL for him in their team scrimmage. You do not like to hear that kind of news for sure. Clemson basketball non-conference schedule is set. So let me hit this up real quick. The Tigers will open against Newberry Exhibition November 1, then host Winthrop November 6th. Then they'll play UAB in Asheville November 10th. Then either Maryland or Davidson on the 12th in Asheville. Home to Boise State on the 19th. Home to Alcorn State the 24th. Then at Alabama, ACC-SEC Challenge on November 28th. We'll host USC December 6th.
Play How about that? They listen to us.
Which was what? Get the game back in December?
Get the game into December and away from the football game, but don't play it on a Friday night.
Yeah.
All positives.
December 9th, I'm not sure they were listening to us. TCU in the Hall of Fame series in Toronto on December 9th. December 16th at Memphis. December 22nd, home to Queens. December 29th, they will play Radford at home. And then they've got their ACC games, which have already been determined. They just haven't been put to a schedule. Let's see. Can we squeeze in Kevin? No, I'm afraid we can't. Guys, hang on. We'll get to you in a little bit. We are running out of time in this hour, so we will hit the top of the hour break. And then our friends from Benedict will be joining us. Looking forward to having Coach Chennis Berry with us. And I never did find out who our players are who are going to be here. I see one of them. Okay, well, we'll just have to announce them when we come back from the break is what we're going to do. I'll look at the roster. I'll circle the number. and we'll announce him after the break. We'll be back.
By the way, before we do what's supposed to happen here, thank you for pushing the button. I thank you. Programming thanks you. America thanks you.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, fireplaces, summer sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters reporting. The Justice Department has until Tuesday to respond to Hunter Biden's attorneys about reviving part of a plea deal. White House correspondent Greg Clugston reports.
Hunter Biden's legal team is pushing to keep part of a plea deal they reached with the prosecutor. His attorneys argued in court documents that an agreement sparing him prosecution on a felony gun charge still is in place, even though the plea deal on misdemeanor tax offenses largely unraveled last month. The prosecutor, Delaware U.S. Attorney David Weiss, has since been named as special counsel in the Biden investigation. Greg Clugston, Washington.
An indictment against former President Trump for alleged election interference in the 2020 election could be in the works in Atlanta as Fulton County District Attorney Fannie Willis investigates that January 2021 phone call between Trump and Georgia GOP Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger. The search continues for victims of that tragic fire in Maui that has claimed at least 96 lives. FEMA Administrator Deanne Criswell says the focus is on finding those who remain unaccounted for, but it's tough going.
This is a really complicated situation. The dogs can only work so long because of how hot the temperatures are. There's also hot spots, and so we have fire crews that are helping to cool down the area so the dogs can go in there. I'd hate to give an exact estimate because we want to make sure that we are precise and methodical and respectful as we go through this.
Meanwhile, parishioners mourned the dead and prayed for the missing in Hawaii churches as communities began looking ahead to a long recovery from last week's wildfire on Maui. Hawaii officials urged tourists to avoid traveling to Maui because many hotels are preparing to house evacuees and first responders. On Wall Street, the Dow by 26 points, the Nasdaq rose 143. More at townhall.com.
Relief Factor, pain relief that's natural, pain relief that works, and pain relief that attacks the source of the pain. That's the experience of tens of thousands of Americans who are taking Relief Factor right now. See their incredible video endorsements at relieffactor.com and then order your 3-week quick starter pack for just $19.95. That's less than $1 a day. Find out if it can work for you like it works for me by ordering your 3-week quick starter pack today. Relieffactor.com, relieffactor.com. Be the next success story.
In theaters, August 25th.
I'm one of the best hitters you're ever going to see.
The true inspirational story about family and faith. Briarcliff Entertainment's The Hill.
They said he will never walk, and he ran. How many miracles do you need?
Starring Dennis Quaid.
You can't play baseball. God's going to give you a higher calling.
You seen this? Major League Tryouts.
You're going to paralyze him.
It's all stacked against me.
The Hill.
I cannot do this alone.
Rated PG. In theaters, August 25th. Get tickets now.
4 divers reported missing have been rescued off the Carolinas. Correspondent Rita Foley reports.
The Coast Guard and the Navy rescued the 4 divers about 46 miles southeast of North Carolina's Cape Fear River. The 4 men were reported missing after they dove off a pleasure craft on Sunday, but didn't resurface. The Coast Guard says it sent several aircraft and boats to search for the men. The many shipwrecks off the coasts of the Carolinas are a popular draw for divers. The area is known for hundreds of shipwrecks and is actually called the Graveyard of the Atlantic. I'm Rita Foley.
6 white former Mississippi law officers who tortured 2 black men have pleaded guilty to state-level charges. One of the officers shot one of the victims in the mouth during the racist assault, and then they covered it up for months. All 6 already admitted their guilt in a connected federal civil rights case. News and analysis at townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters reporting.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
And here's tonight's forecast. Some passing clouds as we cool down this evening to 76. Tomorrow, another scorcher with a high of 96 and a heat index around 108. We'll have a mix of sun and clouds before we get some late afternoon and evening showers. Cooler on Wednesday with a high of 90 with a mix of sunshine and clouds. I'm Brian Leonard with your On Point local weather.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, fireplaces, summer sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point. Please press button now. I said to genius.
Welcome back to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. You can reach the guys with the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number, 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now back to Phil, Chris, and Pat with the second hour of Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. It is Sports Talk here on the Sports Talk Media Network. On a Monday night, we're back on the Palmetto Pigskin Tour, and tonight we are at Benedict College, and what a season the Tigers had last year as they went through the regular season 10-0. Nobody goes through the regular season hardly 10-0, but they did, and then they won their championship game of their league, and they went to the division. So it was quite the year for Coach Chinnis Berry. And the good thing for the Tigers, they got a bunch of people back to work with this season. Coach Berry joins us here inside the football offices at Benedict. First of all, thank you so much. It's great to see you.
Thank you for having us, man. We're super excited to be here.
How does it feel coming off the kind of year you had last year to know you can kind of reach those heights and you got enough coming back to where you can kind of keep it going?
First of all, it feels great, man. It really does, man. We have a really good group of young men, great group of coaches that really have bought into this program, and they've done a good job of just buying into the system and what we're all about. And our philosophy doesn't change, man. We're about, you see it on the wall in this room. We want to recruit the right student athletes. Once they get here, we got to retain them, got to keep them here, especially with the advent of the transfer portal. Got to make them happy and keep them here, make sure they're eligible and things of that nature. Then when we get them here, we got to develop them. But I'm talking about not just develop them on the football field, but holistic development. Develop young men, because we know eventually they'll leave this place, and they got to get ready for the game of life, and then we want to graduate them. And excited that, we graduated 17 guys last year, and we got quite a bit of them coming back to play their last year eligibility. So, we're heading in the right direction. My thing is not just having a good football team, having a good football program that's going to win year in and year out.
Why did it all come together for you last year?
Well, it starts with the student athletes. They were bought in. They wanted to win. They were hungry. They were excited about the opportunity. And I thought our coaching staff did a really good job of going to get the right fit of young men in our program. And, guys were believing it. And, we had a philosophy that we went by when we went into the season that we weren't going to worry about the end goal. We were going to surrender the outcome and fall in love with the process of becoming great. And that's what came about when we read the book Chopwood Carrying Water by Joshua Metcalf. And it just talks about surrendering the outcome and just being the best you can be every day. And I think once we bought into that philosophy of just going 1-0 every day, the young men got excited. And then once it started rolling, it started steamrolling and then they started really believing. And once they start believing, man, these young men, they know you genuinely care about them throughout, not just in the game of football. They'll run through that wall for you. And I think the young men were bought into our whole entire coaching staff and our philosophy of how we do things here at Benedict College.
Tell you what, you talk about get rolling. After you beat Albany State on the road in a hard-fought game before 12,000 people, you won that one 24-20, and then you put the pedal to the metal, 35-0, 49-20, 54-21, and close it out 58-21 in the championship game. I mean, it was like you just hit another gear.
Absolutely. And they were believing. They were believing in what we were doing and believing in our schemes. But you got to have the right student athletes, too. They're really bought in. But like I tell them, man, it was a great year. You can't take it away. What a year. I mean, this year 29 for me. And, I've been coaching a long time and never went undefeated. That's a tough, tall task. But, I got a quote that I go by, and I've been sharing this with the team this whole entire season. The top of one mountain is the bottom of another one. So keep climbing. And, that's real. And, you got to keep climbing regardless because, it's a new journey, new season, new team, but the same mission, and that's to go 1-0 each and every day.
Lost your quarterback, who was a good one. 2,051 yards passing, 15 touchdowns, only 6 interceptions. Eric Phoenix transferred somewhere else. So happens. What do you do with the quarterback situation?
Well, we actually played 2 quarterbacks yesterday. You know, a lot of people talk about the one. Well, we actually played 2, probably the first 7 games of the season. We played Eric Phoenix and John Lampley. And both of those guys have exited the program, and they both graduated, and they moved on. One eligibility was over, the other one decided to enter into the transfer portal. But, you know, it just provides the opportunity for the next guy. Just like we gave those guys an opportunity, it's the next guy's opportunity now. And we have some guys that have been in the program that are really, really progressing what we're asking them to do in this offense. And, you know, in this offense, you don't have to do anything miraculous. Just there's so many playmakers around them. All they have to do is manage the game and don't turn the ball over and get the ball to the good people, because we got some players that can make it happen. And then it starts with the big guys up front, building it around those guys, man. But I think the guys that we have in the quarterback room got a chance to be really, really special. And we got a couple transfers that we brought in, as well as a couple guys that's been on campus. So they're competing right now. We're in week 3 of training camp, and it's coming along real well. And by this upcoming Sunday, we'll name a guy, and we'll move forward and see if we can get the next guy opportunity to take this program and this offense to the next level.
Is there a favorite right now? Is there a leader in the clubhouse?
Well, it's just like, you know, kind of you ever bake the cake, man.
Can't say that I have.
Okay, so when you bake a cake, you put the ingredients in it, man. You got to make sure you got the right flour,
right,
the right sugar, the right amount of eggs. Because if it calls for 3 eggs and you only put 1 egg, it's not going to turn out very well. Then you got to mix it up. You got to mix it up real good, man. Make sure you blend it real good. And then you got to put it in the oven. If it calls for you to take it out the oven in 50 minutes and you take it out in 25, well, the cake won't be ready.
Gotcha.
So, again, the cake's not ready yet. Those guys are still locked in. They're trying to get focused and doing what they're supposed to do and adding ingredients to it. But I like the cake that we're making right now. Tell you what, it's going to be a really, really tasty cake when it's all said and done. But super excited about the guys we got in that room.
Your running back room, you had a lot of guys carry the football last year. Your leading rusher, Zaire Scotland, out of Walhalla. He's back, averaged about 5 yards a carry last year. So did you kind of go with running back by committee last year? Do you want to see one guy maybe emerge to tote that ball this season?
Do you see my teeth? I'm smiling, right? Because, boy, that's a special room there. That room's special. That is a talented room, and we're excited about that room. Obviously, it's led by Zaire Scotland. He's our returning leading rusher from last year. He's a young man. He's big. He's elusive. He's fast. He's strong. He's very smart. He's a student of the game. And he's been in the program now. He understands the mission. He's a part of our leadership council. But we also have another back that's very, very talented as well, DeAndre Duhart. I mean, you're talking about another big back that's powerful, explosive, elusive, and all those type deals. So put those two together. You got thunder and you got lightning. Thunder is Duhart, and then we got lightning with Zaire Scotland. So when you got thunder and lightning, boys, let the good times roll. But I tell you what, it's not even just those two. I mean, those two are special, but we got Jalen Taylor, who's been in the offense for a couple of years. They call him Ferrari. So when you talk about Ferrari, that means pretty fast,
right?
Shifty, right? So, but we got these other young men. That's a man we moved to running back from wide receiver named Izzy Rhodes. Wow! He is lightning in a bottle. He is quicker than a hiccup. Like, he really, really is. He's
got
special.
Thunder and lightning lightning in a bottle.
Oh, wow. I'm talking about explosive. And we got 2 young freshmen. Oh, man. These guys they're having an amazing camp. So, you know, if the O-line are doing a good job of opening up holes, we got some running backs. And, you know, it's basically at this situation where, you know, we can put those guys in. Obviously, some of them are going to get more carries than others. But I really, really love our running back room. Absolutely.
All right, your defense, outstanding. 13 points per game last year. Created a lot of turnovers. You scored 84 points off those turnovers. You got a standout defensive lineman to head it all up, coming back. How's the defense shaping up? As good as last year?
Absolutely. We said that all off season that we were top 10 in the country in defense in most defensive categories. But, you know, our whole defense staff returns intact. That helps. So continuity there is very, very important. And we really lost 2 secondary players from last year and 2 defensive linemen from last year. So we have most of our guys back on defense, and that's led by our defensive lineman, Lubert Denellis, man. Luber Denellis is on everybody's All-American team, but yes, everybody knows him as an All-American football player, but I know him as an All-American man. You know, you're talking about a young man that is a child of God, first and foremost. Young man that doesn't say a lot of words. He doesn't talk a whole lot, but he does his talking on the field. And he's got a motor. He's powerful. He loves the weight room. He makes all A's in the classroom. I think he's made 1 B since he's been here. You're talking about an unbelievable young man. He'll be graduating in December with his degree. And, you know, I tell you what, he leads that room, man, and we got special talent in that defensive line room. But, you know, my philosophy won't change. If you can run the football and if you can stop the run, you got a really good chance of winning the football game. So that's how we build it around here. And, you know, we got some guys in that whole defensive line room that are special. I'm looking for Jaden Broughton, young man that was returning. He's a preseason all-conference guy. I'm looking for him to definitely be a double-digit sack guy. I mean, he's having an amazing training camp. He's special. We got another preseason all-conference guy, Aaron Miller. I mean, you're talking about a guy that can really, really make it happen in the run game and in the pass game. We got Big John Hannibal, big 300-pound nose guard in the middle that's holding it down, man. So, and we signed some really good guys. So, you know, I think that D-line room, we're going to probably play 8 or 9 guys up front in that D-line room, and they can put some pressure on some folks, stop the run, and put some pressure on the quarterbacks. We like our chances.
You talk about living in the backfield. Lubert, last year, 51 tackles, 18 tackles for loss, 13 sacks, recovered 4 fumbles, blocked a kick, and had a safety.
You know what? I really think he had 15 sacks, but
well, blame your statistician.
Yeah, I think he had 15 sacks, but he had a great year. Lubert is I mean, the thing about him, people ask me where he's going to play. Where the offensive staff, or wherever they got to find him, because he can play the 7, he can play the 3, he can play the shade, he can play the 5. He's going to be on the field somewhere. So, but it's his motor, and you know, he's strong, he's powerful, and he plays with amazing energy. So, you know, that helps the battle. So I love Luber Denellis. He's a great young man. I'm glad he's on our team, I tell you that much. I'm sure glad we ain't got to block him.
Absolutely. All right, so you open up at home against Shaw on September the 2nd. What's it like around the campus? I guess you'll find out, maybe when the students get here. I don't know if they're here yet or not. Okay, so last year, I came to one of your games last year. I got here halftime because you guys kicked off at like 7 o'clock, so I got here 8 o'clock, halftime. You ran somebody out, but the place was pretty full. Have people caught on, have the fans, have the students, have the alums really bought into what you're doing, and are you seeing them catching on to what the Tigers are doing?
Well, I have a vision, and I want to see that vision come to fruition. See, 2 years ago, I watched the state championship game right there at Charlie Johnson Stadium. We had Dutch Fort versus Gaffney, and it was 11,000 from one end to the other. I hadn't seen that yet here, but I tell you what, they are really catching on. The community is catching on to Benedict College football. I mean, a lot of places that we go in the community, they hit us with the Go Tigers. So it's not just, you know, on the campus, in the community as a whole, man. These guys are really bought into Benedict College football, which we're forever grateful for. When you're in SEC land, man, we right down the street from University of South Carolina. They love football around here. But the excitement in the community, the excitement on campus, you know, everybody from the administrators to the people in the physical plant, they're Go Tigers. They want T-shirts. They want to come to the games. They're excited about the program. And, you know, I tell our young men they're ambassadors to this college, and it's important that they represent this program on the field and off the field. So what they do in the campus community, in the community as a whole, is very, very important. But I think that the school and the community as a whole is really, really bought into Benedict College football.
Well, tip of the cap to you for what you guys have done.
Thank you.
You've made Benedict very relevant, not just in this part, but nationally. Absolutely. 17th in the preseason poll. So people are noticing. Good luck.
Thank you so much.
And we appreciate your time as always. We'll be out to see you.
Okay.
And I tell you what, we're going to hit the break here, Pat, if we would, and then we'll get the 2 players to come over here and join us, and we'll chat some more with them about the Tigers for this upcoming season. We have got joining us the 2 big guys who were talking about offense and defense, Lubert Denellis, 6 feet 255 from Naples, Florida, and Zaire Scotland, 6 feet 215 from Walhalla. They'll be joining us after the break. Coach, thank you very much.
Great day to be a Tiger.
Yes, sir.
Go Tigers.
Thank you very much. Coach Chennis Berry will be back after the break here at Benedict. Don't go away.
South Carolinians, this message is for you, whether you or a loved one are about to receive Medicare or want to improve your current Medicare situation. Brian Spencer of Palmetto Medicare is the guy for you. This is Mike Morgan, and I've known Brian for over 20 years. He started Palmetto Medicare in 2005, and here's what I can tell you about Brian. He's not the best-looking guy in the world. He's not a poet. He's not a very good golfer. He can't sing at all, not even in the shower. All of this is true. But here's what else I can tell you about Brian Spencer. There's no one I would trust more with that all-important decision of who will handle your Medicare benefits. Palmetto Medicare is local, specific, and native to the Palmetto State. Any and all plans in South Carolina are available through Palmetto Medicare, and they offer a free annual Medicare and prescription review. So with that in mind, there's just one phone call to make, 803-960-9484, 803-960-9484. Let Brian Spencer do the one thing he is good at, helping people with all their Medicare needs.
If you're looking to stay hydrated this summer, turn toward a southern favorite, sweet South Carolina watermelons. One slice is equivalent to a glass of water and is just as effective as sports drinks for hydration. If you don't believe us, you can ask the Palmetto State's top football teams. The SC Watermelon Association will be serving up slices after summer practice to keep our teams fueled and hydrated. Visit scwatermelon.org for all the details and look for ripe South Carolina watermelons in your hometown.
George Bryant here with Tsunami Bar Sports, and wow, Tsunami Robbie, there is now an amazing technology that you can use when you train receiving large game without having to endure pain. Please explain.
George, that is the magic combination. I have 3 simple words to define that entire concept. Stimulation, not annihilation. Regardless of your training goals, there is a level of stimulation that is optimal for your desired gains. Tsunami Bar's flexible bar technology meets these demands because the user determines the level of stimulation with the amount of speed and force they impart into the bar or training device.
Hey, this is Phil Kornbluth. The Tsunami Bar is a terrific training device, whether you're working on your fitness or your golf game. It's convenient, it's easy to use, and you won't feel beat up afterwards. Be sure to click on the digital ad on SportsTalkSC.com and get 5% off any order using promo code BBB5. Don't wait. Order today.
Hi, I'm Jim Corbett. I've been an attorney for more than 30 years. There's one thing I've learned about injury cases. It's you need the personal touch. You need the lawyer to get to know you and describe your damages. You don't want a case manager talking to an insurance company and then talking to you and then talking to maybe to a lawyer with limited experience at the last minute to try to settle a case. I talk to you. I find out what your case is about. Jim at JimCorbettAttorney.com. Jim at JimCorbettAttorney.com for your injury cases.
In Columbia, South Carolina, game days are our specialty. Whether you're watching the game from inside the stadium or from the big screen at your favorite local spot, the energy remains the same. Craft the perfect fall Saturday in a city where there is plenty of action on and off the field. From tubing and kayaking to Soda City to rooftop restaurants and plenty barbecue. We're ready when you are. Plan your weekend at ExperienceColumbiaSC.com.
Welcome back, everybody. Sports Talk here on the Sports Talk Media Network. We continue on the Palmetto Pigskin Tour tonight. We're at Benedict College. Tigers 11-0, 10-0 in the regular season, 11-0 when they won their conference championship game and then made it to the Division II playoffs for the first time last season, first undefeated season in school history. It was a historic season, and they're looking to build on that for this coming season. Welcoming now a couple of the players on the offensive side, Zaire Scotland, a running back from Walhalla. On the defensive side, defensive lineman Lubert Danellis, who is originally from Haiti, then lived in Florida, and is now here in beautiful Columbia, South Carolina. Lubert, I got to think a 106-degree day like we had today, from where you came from must be a walk in the park, no problem.
No, this is still tough to get used to. This is still a different type of heat.
Different type of heat.
Yes, sir.
The heat you're used to is what?
It's like dry heat, a lot of humidity. But I wasn't expecting this type of heat when I first came to Columbia. But this is definitely shocking.
What did you think? What were you expecting when you came to Columbia from Florida?
Kind of just like a little bit cooler weather. And then the heat kind of hit me in the fall. And then in the spring, it got really cold as well. So that kind of took me in for a shock.
Now, Zaire, you're a South Carolina kid from Walhalla, but you're from the cool upstate, right?
Yeah.
How about the heat of Columbia? You know, Columbia is famously hot. It is the hottest spot in South Carolina.
Well, before I got here, I had my cousin who goes down here told me when it's hot down here, it's hot. And when it's cold, it's cold. So I didn't believe him at first, but being down here and getting acclimated, he was not lying at all. When it's in the summer, you got some hot summers, but as soon as the summer goes away and those winters, you got to get up at 6 a.m., you'll be wishing for the heat back. I promise you that.
No question. So you went first to Kennesaw State out of high school, and then you made your way over here to Benedict, and you're taking off. You are one of the leading returning rushers for this team. Why is this a good fit for you? Why is it working out so well?
Well, just everything about the offense is so centered on playmakers. Like the whole objective of the offense is to get the ball in their playmakers' hands, no matter how you do that. And I feel like when I came here and I showed what I could do my first spring here, Coach Berry made it a point when the fall season came to get the ball in my hand. And so he knows that if you make a play, you're going to get the ball. And so me just being able to be who I am, who I feel like I've been since high school, which is a playmaker, it came natural. The ball's in my hand because I kept making plays. And I plan on keep doing the same thing.
What do you remember about your days as a Razorback?
It's just the city, that whole atmosphere and that community up there. There's just a gravitational pull. Like they'll be there for you when you need it, but they'll let you know also when you're not doing your best. And that's something that I needed. They kept it real with me at all times, and it made me a better player.
Lubert, simply, man, you're a beast. You're an absolute beast. What works for you on the defensive line? Why are you so hard to block?
I honestly give it all to the guys that I played with. I played with some great defensive linemen, some great linebackers and defensive back, and they made my job a lot easier. And playing a system like Coach O'Daffer's system, it just helps me to play a lot faster because I know the defense. And really, if you're just doing your job, a lot of players are just going to come to you. So that's kind of how I've been able to do what I do.
Coach Berry makes it sound like you can kind of like play all over the defensive line. Do you have a favorite spot on the line that you like to line up and get after the quarterback?
It's wherever, honestly. I first started interior, playing 3-tech, but recently I've been playing a lot more end. But yeah, it's honestly wherever for me. I like the defensive end, I like 3-tech. Wherever I'm able to make plays and help the team, that's where I want to be. So,
do you have a favorite pass rushing move?
Favorite pass rushing would probably have to be the double swipe, but I definitely love half spin as well. Haven't really hit that too much, but a half spin seems pretty cool.
Zaire, you ever had to sit back in the backfield, protect your quarterback, and pick him up coming off the edge?
My first spring here, it was a culture shock. That's one thing. I was always taught that it's always the big drop-off from Division I and Division II level, and I just came from Kennesaw. And I just remember one of my first practices, he was there. And every play, he was there. It was like no matter what we did, he was there. It got to the point where he couldn't practice with us no more because we couldn't do anything. So, yeah, I definitely got the Lube experience early and often as soon as I got here. So
that's great. All right, now, guys, you had a special year last year. I mean, to go 10-0, then 11-0, make the playoffs, that's incredible. Lubert, what about recapturing that magic, that confidence, that mindset that you guys had last year? Are you successful in doing that?
Yes, we're successful in doing that. We appreciate the success that we had last year, and we understand that in order to achieve the same thing and even higher, we have to go in there with kind of the same hunger. We still want to be the ones doing the hunt. We still want to be the ones that are going out and doing the hunting pretty much. We just want to take care of business, and we don't want to get too tied into the past and have that affect kind of our future. So we just want to stay locked in and fall in love with the process of just coming in and clocking out every day.
Yeah, Zaire, what about that? Now you're the hunted. You're not the hunter. I mean, you're the one people are going to be shooting at.
That's what it be like from the outside, but from the inside, we still got the hunter's mentality. We don't want to be the hunted. We want to be the ones that's out there hungry. And every game, we want to show that. Now, last year, it was not this is a whole new team from last year. Like, the guys who were on the team last year, they could still carry on the fact that, yeah, we accomplished something that nobody in the school's ever done before. But at the same time, we got a whole new group of guys who had just came in that's going to help us this year. And if they want to experience that, they got to have the same mindset we did last year, along with the returns. We're coming out to hunt every game. We accomplished what we did last year, but this is a new year, and we want even more. We left some on the table, I feel like, last year.
Guys, good luck to you. Number one thing is stay healthy. Have another great season, another 10-0 run through the regular season, and we'll be watching. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it very much.
Go Tigers.
Lubert Danellis, Zaire, Scotland, and we'll be back.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
And here's tonight's forecast. Some passing clouds as we cool down this evening to 76. Tomorrow, another scorcher with a high of 96 and a heat index around 108. We'll have a mix of sun and clouds before we get some late afternoon and evening showers. Cooler on Wednesday with a high of 90 with a mix of sunshine and clouds. I'm Brian Leonard with your On Point Local Weather.
Hey, this is Paul Romanstein, proud owner of Midlands Landscape and Lawns. Is it time for a new lawn? You need to start with a smooth grade done right. Then a must is a new Rainbird irrigation system that comes complete with a 1-year warranty. We will then help you know what turf is right for your yard. Tiff Tough Bermuda is a great turf for full sun. Then let the pros maintain your whole property and keep your new grass green and healthy and weed free. At Midlands Landscape and Lawns, we hate weeds. So that's why you can find us at hateweeds.com. hateweeds.com.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters reporting Hawaii's governor is warning that scores more people could be found dead following the wildfires on Maui. His statement comes as search crews go street by street through neighborhoods where the flames galloped as fast as a mile a minute across the island. The blazes consume most of the historic town of Lahaina and are already the deadliest in the U.S. in more than a century. A national political movement that could offer an independent presidential ticket in 2024 as an alternative to major party nominees has now won ballot access in 10 states. The latest happened in North Carolina when the State Board of Elections voted Sunday to recognize the No Labels Party as an official party following a successful petition effort. On Wall Street, the Dow by 26 points, the Nasdaq rose 143. More details at srnnews.com.
It's that time of year again, the time where hunters absolutely celebrate. If you're an outdoorsman, oh, this is your month. There's no better place to start your hunting season than over at Shooter's Choice on Sunset Boulevard in West Columbia. The staff is made up of hunters. Yes, they actually love to get out themselves and hunt, just like you do. So let these experts help you get your hunting package all put together. We all know that ammo really matters, and it's still going to be hard to find at times, so please don't waste it. Let Shooters get you a new scope to help you with accuracy and not wasting that precious ammo. Shooter's Choice has a super scope sale going on this month. Maybe it's time to get that new rifle for the hunt. Shooter's Choice has a monster huge selection. So what are you waiting for? The hunt is on. Online, it's shooterschoicesc.com or make a visit. Come on in. Go see them. Sunset Boulevard, West Columbia. Make it your first choice. Your best choice. Make it Shooter's Choice.
Dave Ramsey here. Do you want your money to work for you rather than you working for your money? Go see my friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union. They're not a mega bank and have been serving the Midlands since 1936, offering good old-fashioned customer service and free services. They'll look out for your financial well-being. With 14 locations, check them out today at palmettocitizens.org. Federally insured by the NCUA.
The pipes burst, you're getting the repairs done. Now it's time for your flooring. This is where the flooring department shines. We don't have a huge multi-million-dollar showroom, but we all buy from the same manufacturers. So why pay more? We're locally owned and have 30 years experience in the flooring industry, and we stand by our work. Get tremendous customer service and great pricing with the flooring department. 951-3567 or online at theflooringdepartment.com. That's 951-3567 or 951-FLOR. The Flooring flooring department.
Excuse me, would you like some expert advice on how to reduce your energy usage and save money?
Absolutely.
Did you know that Dominion Energy offers its residential electric customers a free home energy checkup?
Really? What's included?
A customized energy report and free installation of energy-saving products for eligible customers.
Does it take long?
An hour or two at most.
So, how do I sign up?
Go to DominionEnergySC.com and click Save Energy.
DominionEnergySC.com. Here I come. Thanks for the tip.
Certain restrictions apply.
Hey, honey, I know you're taking some meds for cholesterol. I was reading that if you're on these medicines, you should also be taking some CoQ10.
Actually, our pharmacist mentioned that to me already. He called me the other day, and we went through each of our medications together.
Really? He called you?
Yeah, he asked if I was having any side effects, recommended supplements that could help me, and let me know the risk of mixing certain drugs.
Wow. I'm happy to know that True Pharmacy is thinking about us.
True Pharmacy, 1628 Charleston Highway, 3217 Divine Street, or visit TrueRxSC.com.
Once again, thanks to Coach Barry and the players here at Benedict. Great individuals. Appreciate their time with us here tonight on Sports Talk. Coming up, we're going to hear from Shane Beamer, Dabo Sweeney. Back-to-back double-barrel coaches talk coming up for you. Right now, though, we give you the recruiting report here on Sports Talk. Recruiting is brought to you by our good friends over at Seawells. I know the folks over here at Benedict know all about Seawells. And the daily luncheon buffet at Seawells. It's only $14 for the best buffet in Columbia, Monday through Friday from 11 till 2. Pat, have you got your eyes on the menu for this week?
I sure do, Phil. Today, well, I guess we don't need to do today. They had a great menu today, but tomorrow, Tuesday, Seawells will have carved rosemary-encrusted pork loin, southern fried chicken, fried fish nuggets. Wednesday on Hump Day will be celebrating Thanksgiving early. Carved turkey with cornbread dressing, southern fried chicken, and grilled sausage with peppers and onions. And then don't forget, this time of year, take advantage of all the local farm fresh veggies that they'll provide you there, along with salad bar and dessert.
Sounds good. And the very best in the catering business, that too, are the good folks over at Seawell. So if you need the help in the catering world, just give them a call at 803-771-7385, online at SeawellsCateringSC.com. Check it out to get more information on what they have to offer. So, first of all, some football news. Defensive end Drew Twazama, 6'6", 263, is a grad transfer from UAB. He's in the portal John. There's been talk of USC adding another defensive end before this season. Is this the guy? He's followed by Shane Beamer and others from USC on X, or Twitter. You still want to call it Twitter. Twazama's a native of Raleigh, began his career at Syracuse, and after 2 seasons transferred to East Mississippi Junior College before landing at UAB. Last season, 33 tackles, 6 tackles for loss, and 5 sacks. He's picked up recent offers from Indiana, Colorado, Mississippi State. Offensive tackle Jordan Seaton, 6'5", 287 of IMG Academy, has set an official with USC for November 18th, according to a story by Bama Online. He's a native of Washington, D.C., made an official to Alabama in June and plans to return for the Tennessee game October 21st. Also has official visits with LSU September 9th, Florida the 16th, Ohio State October 7th, and Oregon November 10th. He told the website he's also looking at Maryland and Oklahoma for possible officials. USC's in the top 13 with 2025 safety DJ Pickett, Zephyr Hills, Florida. Everybody else on there is a major Power 5 program as well. 2025 defensive end Anthony Addison of Sumter was offered by Cincinnati, his first Division I offer. Basketball, USC women pick up a commitment first for the 24 class, 5'5", Madison McDaniel, Upper Marlboro, Maryland. She apparently made her decision in mid-July as 94 feet WBB posted on X July 19th that McDaniel would be committing to Staley. In fact, I think we mentioned that way back then. Didn't know anything about anything, and it turns out that this is the person headed to South Carolina. She is regarded as one of the top prospects in her class, the Maryland Player of the Year last season, coming off a torn ACL, which she had surgery on in March of 2021, averaged 19-5. In Tennessee and Georgia, the other top schools on her list. Clemson, one of the top 8, with 6'7". Micah Smith of Tyrone, Georgia. Others are Bradley, Florida Gulf Coast, James Madison, Kennesaw State, Mercer, Mississippi State, and Western Kentucky. Baseball, 2024 right-hander Cole Greer, 6 feet, 195 of Berkeley, committed to USC. Following the Palmetto Games over the weekend, Oceanside Collegiate, 2024 outfielder David Ketterman, committed to the College of Charleston, according to Diamond Prospects. Now the transfer portal, John, update for you tonight here on Sports Talk. That is brought to you by Dumpster Plus. Dumpster Plus provides a roll-off dumpster and a porta-john in one, locally owned and operated, and their phone number is 803-500-5094. Syracuse lands Nebraska transfer defensive back Miles Farmer. And more than 20% of all FBS scholarship players transferred during the 2022-23 portal cycle. More than 20%. Imagine that number who went into the portal, John, and many of them didn't find new homes. So did not help themselves out by making that move.
So
that
right
is,
there, updated real quick before you finish right there. To your point, as of right now, only 58% of all players in the transfer portal for football have found homes. So there are still 42% of the initial players who entered the portal have not found a new home.
Tough sledding. That's it for the recruiting report tonight, brought to you by Seawells. Okay, over the weekend, Saturday, USC Clemson both had their first big scrimmages of preseason camp. Let's jump into what the coaches had to say, a little bit from both Shane Beamer and Dabo Swinney. Let's begin with the Gamecocks head man, Shane Beamer.
Certainly feel like we've made a lot of improvements through these first 8 practices and really like coaching this group from top to bottom. Injury-wise, we're in decent shape. We had some guys that got banged up today, but they all came back and finished, so that was good to see. So unless something changes between now and tonight or tomorrow morning, came out of the scrimmage in good shape. The only guys that didn't scrimmage today were Terrell Dawkins. Expect him back. All these guys I'm about to name, we expect back next week. Terrell Dawkins, excuse me. Let me back up. Terrell Dawkins, expect him back next week. Kelton Henderson, freshman receiver, he didn't scrimmage today. He's got a little bit of a hamstring, no issues as well. Pup didn't scrimmage today. We expect him back next week. Trey Knox didn't scrimmage today. We expect him back Monday. Reed McKeska, he's dealing with a little bit of a lower body injury. He may be a few more weeks. David Spalding didn't scrimmage today. Expect him back next week. And then Juice Wells didn't scrimmage today. He won't be back next week, but optimistic that he'll be ready for game 1, knowing how Juice attacks things. He's got a little bit of a lower body injury that he's dealing with right now, and nothing long term. Just some things that he's got to get a hold of, and he assures me he's playing game 1, and knowing him, he will. But other than that, like I said, everybody should be back next week except Reed McKeska, and he may be a couple more weeks. So as it stands through 8 practices, we're in good shape. It's not DEFCON 3 like supposedly it's been on social media the last couple of days about some injuries out there. My God, it's football, fellas. There's injuries. There's things that happen in practice. Guys get banged up. They come back. They're tough. It's called football. So like where we are as a team and toughness and mental and physical, and got a lot to improve on, but it's a good start through 8 practices. Any questions?
Shane, when you have a pretty established QB like Spencer, does he go a lot of plays and things like this? Or like you said with the young guys, you mostly rotate your backups in there?
Yeah, no, great question, David. He took every rep today with the first group. We wanted to do that today. He needed the work. He's got a lot of new pieces, around him, a lot of guys that were here in spring practice, but then, some new guys, freshmen that are here as well. So we thought it was critical to, we treated it like a game, David. So coaches were on the sideline. We had headphones. We were signaling plays in. So just the mechanic are signaling plays and calling plays from the side like we will in a game. So it just felt like from a mechanic standpoint, he needed to be out there and get all the work. So he got all the work with the ones. And then Luke and Tanner and Colton and Lenoris all split up the work with the second group and the third group. Like we did in the spring, we made Lenoris, Colton, and Tanner were live today where we were tackling them like we have done previously, and that was good work for those guys also to understand that there's a pass rush in the SEC, but also for our defensive players to be able to, have to tackle those guys also.
Shane, going into camp, you talked a lot about limiting turnovers through the first week of camp. How do you feel about the offense's ability to kind of limit them?
It's funny you said that. It's pretty good. I feel good. So practice 8, practice 7, practice 5 through 5 practices. We did a study, just what were our turnovers through the first through 5 practices in 2021 and 2022. How many turnovers were there in team periods through the first 5 practices, and compared to 2023, and through 5 practices, the turnovers had been cut in half from an offensive standpoint. So great from an offensive standpoint, not so good from a defensive standpoint, because we want them to be creating turnovers, and they weren't creating them at the rate they had the last 2 seasons. And then as soon as I tell the offense that, they go out the next day and we had 6, and that was by like four more than we had in any practice all year, all preseason. But to answer your question, good. We really didn't have many today. There was a ball that got a pass. There was a kind of a bang play, and ball got popped up in the air, and JT Gear, he got the interception. So it's actually 2 straight practices that our only turnover was a defensive lineman getting an interception. Tonka had one yesterday in practice. So we've got to continue to, emphasize creating turnovers defensively. But so far, so good. The offense has done a good job with it. And like I've said before to you guys, that's everybody. It's not just the running backs holding on to the ball. It's quarterback making good decisions. It's blitz pickup and where we don't get hit in the back by a free rusher and things like that.
You talked a lot about offensive line and trying to find the right combinations. After 80 play state, do you feel a little bit closer to maybe knowing who those best 5 are, maybe 6, 7, 8 behind them? Yeah, that was a goal of today, was to have a better idea about who those guys are as well. I think we're closer. We're mixing in a lot of people. One guy I should have mentioned that didn't scrimmage today was Casey Henry, but you could throw him in that mix from an offensive standpoint, but he's another one that'll be back Monday. Casey, we've talked about it before, I think, but we got a few guys like Casey Henry, Jackson Hughes, guys that are coming off off-season surgeries that are just now getting back. So Jackson actually practiced yesterday and did a nice job. Kaysen will be back Monday. We'll certainly give those guys an opportunity to get into the mix. But I'm eager to get back over to the facility tonight and watch this practice tape or watch this scrimmage tape and then see how that offensive line performed. Who is our starting 5 right now? I couldn't sit here and tell you definitively who it is. But, I really like our freshman offensive line group. Those guys are going to play for us, a handful of them. And now we need to just figure out who those top 7, 8 guys are going into game 1. So got a better idea, but we're not there yet.
Drastic difference between those freshmen who were here early as opposed to the handful that came in the summer.
Yeah. Probably not as much as you might think. Certainly the guys that were here in the spring, they've got a little bit of a leg up because they've been through an entire winter with Luke Day in the weight room. They've been through 15 spring practices. Today wasn't their first time being in Williams-Brice Stadium. So they're a little bit ahead from that standpoint. There's no question about it. But I'll be honest with you, Reggie, like the freshmen that didn't enroll early, this is a talented freshman class we got. It really is. I mean, you look across the board, O-line, D-line, every position, receiver, defensive back, quarterback, running back. There's some really talented freshmen, and they don't look like they just got here. So when I say that you can't really tell the difference, to me, that's more of a compliment to the freshmen that did just get here and the whole freshman class in general. Now, certainly their heads are spinning, and how we do things every day is a challenge. Just,
being in the building on time, getting your rest, all that stuff. They're not as far along as those guys that were here in January, but they're not far off, and we're really impressed with them.
At running back, I think there was a lot of talk coming into camp about trying to get some of the other guys ready to carry on. How's that group?
Good. Cam Sandlin was back today. He had a little bit of a surgical procedure over the summer, so he got out there today, did a good job. Did I lose your brother? Okay. He got back out there today. Cam did. Mario Anderson had a nice run today. He had a run that came back because of a holding penalty. DJ Braswell got in there and did a nice job today, along with DK. Bradley Dunn, who had a nice spring. He did some good things. Saw Nathan Harris-Waynick, had a run in there. So, yeah, we're trying to get as many of those guys to come along as we can and really like them. When I talk about I like the freshman class, I certainly include DJ Braswell in that group. He's got a chance to be a really good player for us and did some nice things today. So that's a good competition that we have. And then Juju was limited today, but nothing major, just kind of being smart with him. But I like the running back group, and they all bring something to the table.
Okay, some Shane Beamer. All that's on our website, SportsTalkSC.com. While we wait to rack up the audio from Dabo Swinney here, a couple of other quick recruiting notes. The USC women in the top 5 with 6'1", McKinley Randolph of Chatsworth, California. And the others are Duke, Notre Dame, Louisville, and Michigan State. And USC men's target, 6'2", Elijah Crawford, is transferring to Brewster Academy in New Hampshire from Legacy Early College in Greenville. Okay, let's go to the tape now of Dabo Swinney talking with the media outside the locker room at Memorial Stadium following the Tigers scrimmage on Saturday afternoon.
Well, it was a hot one. We finally got what we've been waiting on after Camp Kool-Aid the last couple of days at Derby. We got some heat today. And it was just what we needed. We needed a day where at some point, the wall was going to show up. And I want to see kind of how the guys that pushed through. It was incredibly competitive. I don't know, we probably had 120 plays or so. It was a lot. We got a lot of special teams work, a lot of good on good, mixed it up a little bit as well, and really did everything today except 2 minutes. So we'll hit that again on Monday and then again on Wednesday in our second scrimmage. But, the biggest thing I say is just really competitive. There were some big plays on both sides. Kind of a carryover from what I've seen in practice each day from just, again, a competition standpoint. I thought defense really started really well, didn't finish as well. Offense had a few plays, and we get a fumble, we get a pick, didn't finish a couple drives, but then I thought they finished well at the end of practice. But and everything in between, just overall a very competitive day. It wasn't a day where one side dominated. And usually that's the case when you come out to these first scrimmages. It's usually, kind of one side kind of wins the day after, we've been together all day, every day for 11 days. So I thought the guys responded pretty good, and nothing I'm really disappointed in other than just had a couple of critical penalties out in space that negated a couple of big plays, had a couple of illegal substitutions. Those are things that really cost you big time. We jump offside. We're not lined up properly on the field goal. We make the field goal, so now it's got to come off because we're not all the way up on the line of scrimmage. But as far as just kind of what I call football penalties, it was actually a pretty clean day. But losing the Clemson penalties, we had a few too many of those that we had to clean up. I had the ACC officials out here today, so that was really good for all of us, for coaches and players. And these are critical days when you only get 2 preseason games, if you will. 3 weeks from tomorrow, we'll be heading up to Duke. So it's going to come fast, and we got one more, again, preseason game, and then still have a little competitive work. But a week from Monday, we'll start really turning the page to just our opponent prep.
Coach, with Hunter, his sprained foot out in the next 2 or 3 weeks, I guess.
I don't know. He's out. He'd be back. It's all intact. It's not anything that I think's long term or anything like that.
Do you think CV is at a point where he's ready to be the backup if needed?
No, I think Paul Tyson would be the backup right now. CD is coming, but Paul's a fifth-year guy. He's got a lot of knowledge. 3 years at Alabama, a year at Arizona State. He's been exposed to a lot. He would just knowledge-wise, kind of be the bridge guy right now. But CV definitely, if we had some type of long-term deal, then yeah, I mean, if something happened to Cade or something like that, then then that changes everything when it comes to CV. But just as the next guy, what we're trying to do, that's what we brought Paul here for, because we want to try to hold CV if we can. So it'll probably take something to happen to Cade to change that. We feel good about Hunter. We feel good about Paul. Paul, I didn't get to see him, in the spring. And, he's a very knowledgeable guy. He doesn't run quite like he and Hunter are similar. He doesn't run like Cade. He doesn't run like CV. But, he's got a good understanding. He knows when to get rid of the ball. And, again, just real good command of what we're doing, So, I mean, he's really glad we got him. And then I'll tell you, Trent Pierman, he probably had the best drive of the day today. I thought he really kind of sparked the offense. And he's just a kid that's got some moxie. That's the best thing I can say. And, he's just got a little moxie. He's got a little just gamesmanship to him. And you just kind of go, well, there's Pierman. He just makes some plays. And he did that all through high school. He's getting better. So we'll get Hunter back, sooner than later. And I hate Hunter's not healthy because, really want to see him and Paul kind of compete. But it's also been good because Hunter got the spring, Paul didn't. So now Paul's been able to get all this work so that we hopefully can come out of this thing feeling really good about those three guys with our plan of trying to hold CV. And again, something happened to Cade, that probably changed things.
How did Cade perform today?
Did good. He had one bad play, and it was really more, I'd say, a good play by the defense. They had a great call and it was zone blitz, and he just didn't see the end dropping. Dinoff got him one. But, man, Cade did a nice day. He's just very steady, man. He's a high-energy guy, and you always feel like you got a chance when he's out there on the field. Made some beautiful throws, some really, really beautiful throws. Made a couple of nice plays where he extended the play. He's in a really good place mentally, and physically. But he certainly had a couple he'd like to have back. But overall, solid first day.
Peter Woods as dominant today as he was in the spring game?
I don't think so. I think it was competitive on both sides. The guy to me today was Avery Thomas. He was a problem, which that's good to see him. Maskell. I saw Maskell. Maskell made a couple of plays, flashed. We held Root today. He'll scrimmage on Wednesday. We got some guys that have played a lot of snaps. We played Putnam, but we limited his reps today. Some of our high career snap guys, we're trying to be smart with those guys, between this day and Wednesday. So Rook will he'll get a lot of work on Wednesday, and Tyler Davis will probably drink a lot of Gatorade. So we're just kind of mixing and matching a little bit from a vet standpoint. Some of these guys, that I know are ready to go play. We've got them enough live work to make sure they're sharp. But we've got a lot of guys. We can only take 80 to do, so we got a lot of guys we've got to really evaluate and make some decisions on.
Special teams,
Robert was awesome. He's been great all week. I mean, he hit one yesterday that was to win the national championship. That was we didn't even have a goalpost. So I said we got to kick it over the camera guy in the tower, and the camera guy in the tower couldn't even touch it. It went over his head, right over the middle of the tower. It was unbelievable. Good from 70. So we're starting to gain some confidence. I'll be surprised if we line up from 70 at some point. I mean, it's amazing. He hit one from 60 today and really kind of sparked it. So he's had a really good camp. He's in a really good spot. Really pleased with just our whole battery and the operation right there. We're starting to really settle in. And then actually Aiden's leg's a little sore last day, so we actually held him today, which is also good. He's had a good camp, and really gave Jack some more work, and I'm pleased with Jack. I mean, he and Brody, both those guys. Brody's starting to come on, and we got a little competition there, so it's good to see a third guy kind of emerge. And man, I'm pleased with Jack. I mean, I think he's going to be a really, really good one. So he got a chance to get most of the work today, and kind of Aiden had that day as well.
Okay, there you go. Dabo Sweeney from Saturday and Shane Beamer from Saturday. And the Tigers had a situational scrimmage today, as we talked about earlier. And they plan another scrimmage, I think it is on Wednesday. Is that right?
Correct.
Yeah, 10:40 a.m. scrimmage inside the stadium. Thus, they will not scrimmage this coming weekend. USC will scrimmage this coming Saturday. They will not have any media availability after we meet with the team. Let's see. They will not have any other media availability until after we meet with them on Thursday. So nothing this weekend from USC.
Wow.
That'll do it. Thanks to Dennis Switzer here at Benedict for taking great care of us. Thanks to the folks here with the team. We'll see you tomorrow.
Someone will be right with you.